So guys, time for an update on my 23 F150. Quick recap on this thing. It's a crew cab with 331 gears, stock wheel and tire setup. It's got an AFE intake with a MagnaFlow catback, and it's tuned by me. And I really do like this truck, guys. I didn't think I'd like it as much as I do, but with the very few modifications that have been done to it, this thing is regularly a mid to low 13-second truck. It's a lot of fun to drive. It rides very well, extremely comfortable, even quiet on the inside when you don't have your foot into it, listening to that sweet MagnaFlow exhaust. So in general, I gotta say, extremely happy with this thing all the way around. As far as upcoming modifications, I'm about 50-50 with putting a supercharger on this thing. I really do like it the way it is stock, but I kind of also like the idea of building a little bit of a sleeper-esque type pickup truck build, something that runs 11s that you would practically think would be nothing more than a grocery getter or something that you would see on a construction job site. So that's where I'm at with this truck so far. Now, I had mentioned I had just done an oil change. One of the things that I wanted to talk to you guys about real quickly is, well, how important it is to change your oil. Now, I don't want to get into oil brands. As often as I change oil, which is about every 4,000 to 5,000 miles typically, it doesn't really seem to matter too much which brand of oil that I use. A quick reminder, my work truck is a 2017 Ram 1500 with 209,000 miles on it, and it's only had drive-through oil service quality synthetic oil run through it, and it runs great, burns zero oil. So if that tells you anything, I'm not the kindest to that truck, and well, whatever they're putting into it at the local Take 5 doesn't seem to bother it too much. So that's kind of where I am with oil brands. As long as you're changing the oil, most of the research that I've done on oils would suggest that these synthetics are all very good regardless of which way you go. But there is one thing I want to share with you, and that's the filter that I use. Now, Mobil 1 is not sponsoring this, but for this truck, it is the M1 212A. And the reason why I like the Mobil 1 filters is because of the case itself. The Mobil 1 cases tend to be, or at least seem to be, thicker, at least where you would put your filter socket. I've had filters in the past round off when I was trying to get them off with an actual proper filter socket, and it was because the case thickness was so thin it would just round off. It was very frustrating, and then you have to resort to some alternate means in some cases to remove the filter, which can make a mess. By the way, for that filter and for the factory filter, this is the filter socket that works beautifully. And if that's not focusing, if you need to stop it, or I'll just read it off to you. It's a performance tool. It has the PT on the top. This is a 75.6 millimeter 14 flute, which is what it reads right there. And as far as torque specifications for this truck, it's 5 Newton meters. So you spin the thing on until you get to 5 Newton meters, and then you go 180 degrees. Now, if you don't have a torque wrench that's that small to read Newton meters that are that low, which is about 44 inch-pounds, or about 4 foot-pounds. The idea is that you put it on with hand tightness and then turn it 180 degrees. That'll get you within the noise, at least so far as I can tell. That's the way I did it on this one. I think it'll work out pretty well with you. And when I did tighten it hand tight, just a little bit of a nudge with a torque wrench set and verified at 5 Newton meters, it was basically there at hand tight. So there you go, and there's your filter socket. Again, I like to use the higher quality filters. Again, it's not that I feel like they do a better job at filtering, because I swap filters whenever I change oil. So again, total capacity and all of that is not really all that relevant to me. It has more to do with the case thickness and making sure that I don't run into an inconvenience when I go back into this thing to change the oil again. So with that, guys, post up your comments. If you've got one of these trucks, have you done anything to them? How do you feel about your F-150? I'm really liking mine, and I'd love to hear if you've done anything to yours, how it's affected its drivability. With that, we will catch you on the next one. Thanks a lot.